Parshas Nitzavim, Tavshin Pei Hey. Our last shir for this year for Tavshin Pei Hey. Baruch Hashem, we did a shir every week, and we look forward to next week beginning the shiurim for Tavshin Pei Vav, our Nesivos Shalom shir on the Parsha. Every week there's so much going on here at Bikur Cholim headquarters in Lakewood that it's hard to describe things that are going on. But tonight we walk in and you look around this beautiful reception room over here. When you walk into Bikur Cholim, take a look at what's going on here. What every patient, any chayla that's in the hospital, families and friends, whoever is with somebody in the hospital, in one of many hospitals around New Jersey, but nothing is left out. Everything is thought of. Look at these kits with shechayanu fruit, simonim, a rosh daga, a head of a fish, the honey, a kit that gives you an apple to dip in the honey. Everything is balabatish, made for you, that you shouldn't have to think about it, that you should be able to have as good a yontif as is possible to have when you're with somebody who's not well for yontif. Bikur Cholim tries to make you feel at home. And it's a beautiful thing to see, and it should be a schus for this Rosh HaShanah for every one of the volunteers and the people that are involved in Bikur Cholim. And I could give you a thank you on behalf of the community, wherever they are, for the amazing work that you do. Now let's talk a little bit about the Parsha. We could give a whole share about Bikur Cholim and Chesed tonight, but we're going to do a little bit on the Parsha and discuss some very, very important lesson for Rosh Hashanah. And the Torah, our Parsha begins, Atem Nitzavim Hayoim Kulchem. Torah tells us, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, you're all standing over here, Lifnei Hashem Elokeichem. Then it says that we made a bris, Karei Simcha Hayoim. And then after that, Laman Hakim Oisra Hayoim La'am. In other words, you're all standing here, and there's also a bris. There's a covenant that's being made over here. And the Svarim HaKadoshim tell us that this word at the beginning of the Parsha, Atem Nitzavim Hayoim, the Hayoim in these psukim refers to Rosh HaShanah. We know Parshas Nitzavim comes out every year, the week of Rosh Hashanah. And this word Hayoim, one of the things that it alludes to is the yontif of Rosh Hashanah. And the Nesivos Shalom tells us about the different aspects and contrasts that Rosh Hashanah represents. Rosh Hashanah has many, many different facets, has many different parts of the yontif. And if we actually analyze these different aspects, we can actually find the different parts of the Rosh Hashanah to be a little bit seemingly contradictory. That on one hand, we have Rosh Hashanah, that's the Yom Adin, and the Yom Adin is a very serious part of the yontif. And then we have a different aspect of Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the yontif, a yontif where we're crowning once again Hashem as our King, that reaffirmation that Hashem is our Melech. Rosh Hashanah is the hischachus of the Brias HaOlam, and along with that comes the Hachtaras HaMelech of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that once again we proclaim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're King of the world, and you are our King. And also, Ein Lanu Melech Ela Ata, there's only one King in this world, and that is you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the King, that brings along also with it a very special thing for us, for Klal Yisrael too, because we know famously the saying of Ein Melech B'lo Yam. So for saying that Hashem is the King, in order for Hashem to be the King, Hashem needs a nation. In order to be a king, you have to rule over a people, and we are that nation. Hashem told us that we are His nation, Kaviyachal, that we belong to Hashem. Hashem only has one nation in this world, and it's us who we were proclaimed as that nation, and it's because we are that nation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can be a king. He's king over, we proclaim HaKadosh Baruch Hu a king over the only nation that Hashem is really interested in. So this bris, this covenant that we speak about at the beginning of the parsha is really twofold. First of all, Atem Nitzavim Hayoim, we're all standing, Hayoim Rosh HaShanah, we're standing in din to be judged. But then there's also the continuation of the psukim. Lema'an hakim oisecha hayoim loy la'am. Hashem is proclaiming us as His nation. V'hu yiyeh l'chol elakim. And therefore, once we are the nation of Hashem, Hashem is the king over the world. And we reaffirm that every Rosh Hashanah, that Hashem is our Melech, and we are His nation. The Pasuk tells us about Rosh Hashanah. Everybody knows this Pasuk. We say it before Shemona Esrei. By Ma'ariv, we'll say it in Musaf on Rosh Hashanah. Tiku b'chodesh shofar, b'keseh liyoim chagenu. This Pasuk is being merames to us, says the Nesivos Shalom. It is telling us, this Pasuk alone tells us about these two aspects of Rosh Hashanah. It's merames, first of all, b'keseh. The Torah tells us, Tiku b'chodesh shofar, b'keseh. B'keseh means, b'keseh denotes that which is covered and hidden. And the part of Rosh Hashanah that we know, that's the part of din. The din on Rosh Hashanah is a part that's hidden. No one understands, no one knows exactly how HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes about the judgment. And then there's Kiku b'chodesh shofar, b'keseh liyoim chagenu. That it's a chan. The Yom Tov part of Rosh Hashanah is also mentioned. So in the same pasuk we have the din part of Rosh Hashanah, and we have the Yom Tov part of Rosh Hashanah. And really, there could be no greater Yom Tov than when we proclaim and we reaffirm our special connection that we have with Hashem. The part of the Yom Tov that the Navi Nehemiah tells us that we should be happy on Rosh Hashanah. Ichlu mashmanim ushesu mamtakim ki kadosh hayoim ladeinenu. That we proclaim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has this special relationship with us, and you're supposed to have seudos, you're supposed to be happy, you're supposed to have a Yom Tov, a Chagenu. So of course, the Nesivos Shalom asked, the big question that of everybody is, I'm sure, thinking of right now, is how do we blend those two things together? How do we blend the awesomeness of the Yom Hadin on Rosh Hashanah with this great big simcha of the Yom Tov of Rosh Hashanah? How do we put those two things together? So I'm going to make Rabbi Brol, who's sitting here with power behind a lot of the things that go on in Bika Cholim, I'm going to tell you over from the Baal HaToldos. And the Toldos is a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, I think so. Okay, we'll get the history soon, a little later. But the Toldos, Chussi Yagan Aleinu, the Nesivos Shalom brings down a beautiful mimer from the Toldos, and with that you could have a totally different perspective on take on Rosh Hashanah. It's kedai for everybody to know. There's a mimer Chazal on Rosh Hashanah that everybody knows that Shloisha Sforim, there are 3 Sforim opened on Rosh Hashanah, right? Chazal tell us those of Tzadikim Gemurim, one Sefer Tzadikim Gemurim. Then there's, unfortunately, there's the Rishoyim Gemurim also open, and then there's one of Beinanim, people who are right, wrong, and the middle. Those 3 Svarim are opened on Rosh Hashanah. So normally, we understand this Maimer Chazal to be saying that each person is going to be inscribed on Rosh Hashanah in one of these Svarim, right? The Chasima, dealing with, you have Aseres Yemei Tshuva to change things. You have Aseres Yemei Tshuva to do things. If you're one of those people in the middle, so we try to pile on as many mitzvahs as we can. During Aseres Yemei Tshuva, we try to act a little better, a little more serious, a little more of everything, that we could be moved to the Sefer of Tzaddikim. But that's normally the way we would understand that every person is inscribed in one of these books. The Toldos Chusi Hagan Aleinu says otherwise. And he says that, you know what it's telling us? That all three of these books are opened up in front of each person. And every person is able to sign up for what you want to be for the next year. There's a Sefer Shel Tzadikim, Sefer Shel Rishonim, and a Sefer of Beinanim. Every person has the opportunity on Rosh Hashanah to say, okay, I know what I was last year, and I have to do tshuva maybe, I have to do things like that, but what do I want to sign up for next year? You have 3 svarim here. We want to sign up in the Sefer Shel Tzadikim, right? So you can decide if you are accepting Hashem as your king, you're accepting the laws, the mitzvahs, and the rules of Hashem. Are you accepting Hashem's commandments as your king? So when you decide that you are, then yes, you write yourself in the Sifron Shel Tzadikim. You have an opportunity to decide what you want to be and where you want to be for the next year. From here on forward, I'm accepting and I'm going to be changing my ways. I want to be in the Sifron Shel Tzadikim. And once you do that, so then all the dinim are sweetened. We had a question and we said, how do we have the din of Rosh Hashanah with the yontif of Rosh Hashanah? Tells us in Nesivos Shalom, based on this Toldos, that every person has an opportunity to make the din into a sweet and happy part of Rosh Hashanah also. If you inscribe yourself, if you make that decision that you're part of the bris, the covenant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you accept the mitzvahs of Hashem, you accept all those things, then what you're doing is you're taking the din part of the yontif, you write yourself in, you make it a happy day for yourself too. So the din of Rosh Hashanah is not in deep contrast to the yontif of Rosh Hashanah. Now, it's all part of one beautiful, happy yontif. That even the din of Rosh Hashanah becomes sweet when we sign ourselves up to be the nation of those who accept and follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is now all a complete yontif of simcha. And that's really an idea that we have to take in to Rosh Hashanah. We have to take it in that the yontif part of Rosh Hashanah is yontif. We have to be happy. But even the din part of Rosh Hashanah, we have an opportunity to make it into a happy part for ourselves. We have that opportunity to create a sweet year, a sweet life for ourselves by signing up in that Sifron Shel Tzadikim. We have the power to do that. I want to wish everybody here in Bikur Cholim, I want to wish all of Klal Yisrael that everybody should be signed up. Remember, you can do it yourself. Be signed up in the Sifron Shel Tzadikim to wish you a ksiva v'chasima toiva, a year, a sweet life, one that we have lots of simchas, lots of good news, and most of all, we should all be zeicha together this year in a sweet way to head to Yerushalayim, which Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mheira b'yameinu. Amen.